Alrighty, so today I wanted to play some Tropico 6. I got a comment on one of my videos recently and someone wanted to see me set up some decent economy. And when I read that, it reminded me that I wanted to do a series where I release like a 30-minute to maybe an hour-long clip every day of me playing Tropico. These videos would be really easy to get out because I won't have to do like a whole lot of editing for them. The main goal that I'm going with for these series is that I'm going to try and build like a specific island with like a lot of flavor. And so for this one here that I want to work on today, I want to build an island that's like super criminal. Kind of want to build something like Chicago. So I want to have like a bunch of criminals on the island, and I want to set up a car manufacturing industry with maybe like 4 car manufacturing plants. And so getting into the settings, this is the island that we're going with here. These are the starting settings, pretty basic. This is kind of how I set it up every time. I'm like 50-50 on whether or not I have pirate difficulty turned on, but for this run I just left it off. For the DLC, I left off Lobbyistico, and the reason is that I want to try and get $2 million into my personal Swiss bank account. And so you can't really do that with Lobbyistico turned on because the more money you put into your Swiss bank account, the higher corruption gets. And corruption's cool, it's just that once you start getting a lot of corruption on the island, it lowers crime safety and liberty. And so I'm fine with the crime safety being off, or like really low, because I want to try and make like a criminal island, but having a really low liberty makes a lot of rebels. And so I just rather not deal with that. So let's get into it. Alrighty. I'm not sure if I played on this island before, but I wanted an island that was huge, and the reason is that I kind of want to set up like a downtown area, something like Chicago, try and get into the modern era as quickly as possible, start setting up a lot of skyscrapers. It'd be cool to be like in the 40s and have like a huge downtown area. So I'm just like quickly get into that. Some pretty important things that I want to do, because it's going to be Chicago. I want to set up prohibition and the right to bear arms, and so to make it like really criminalistic. And so as we can see here, if we read prohibition, increases efficiency of all other buildings, decreases crime safety by 10%, or by 10. And then the right to bear arms decreases crime safety as well by another 10. And so these two together make a lot of crime on the island. For the first era, industry isn't too important, but for the World Wars era, I kind of want to start doing something important. I think I'm going to try and get some cigar factories set up right away. And so cigar factory is going to take tobacco. And so I think we'll have like a main road down this way here. Just build off of this road that's already here. So first thing, for the first era, you usually want to try and decide on whether or not you're going to have like a poor population or a more well-off population. And so for this first era, I think I'm going to stick with a well-off population. I took the $200,000 starting money. So also let me kind of set up the island however I want. So move buildings around. So I think the ultimate goal is I'm going to build like a super industrialized zone right next to the dock. And then we'll build like a main road where we can put a lot of like touristy buildings in. Start generating a lot of money that way. So we're just going to move stuff around. Because I want to build like a well-off population in the first era, I'm going to go ahead and destroy. Well, usually I destroy all the housing anyways. We're not going to need the tavern. Go ahead and destroy that. So all the housing is down. Start building something like this. So I'm going to do like a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. I believe that's right. A bunch of 2 by 3s in the middle. 5. Move this over here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Relocate this. Push it back a ways. Actually, you know what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can relocate this. Just like that. So we got like this nice little city block setup going here. Hit play, let people sort it out a bit. So now we'll go ahead and build up the housing. Let's see how many homeless families we have. We have 25 homeless families. A ship is probably going to dock pretty soon, so we'll go ahead and just kind of like overshoot the amount of houses we need. You always want to turn on urban development, just kind of like leave it on. I'll eventually turn on no free lunch. This is new, no more shacks. But realistically, like if you have shacks on your island, then you're just doing it wrong. You wanna always have housing for your population. And so there's even buildings that you can use that'll provide housing to broke Tropicans, people without jobs. And so if you have shacks, you just need to put down more housing, get down more jobs. And so as we can see here, like having homeless families, these people all start building up shacks. And so you want more homes than homeless families. So we have 25 homeless, and each bunkhouse can house 2. Let's quickly go through. So round that up to 26. 26 divided by 2 is 13. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We only needed 13, but that ought to be plenty right there. If you're on PC, you can hold control and then click on the housing to quick build it all. And so all these houses are for well-off Tropicans, so we're going to need to start providing well-off housing for all of these people. So just make sure that all the wages are at least above 10. And so here we can get it exactly to 10. But if a job can provide a wage of 10 exactly, but it can go higher, then you need to push it one step higher if you want everyone to be well off. And so as we can see here, we need to go to the max setting for this construction office. You can go down a little bit there because 12 is above 10. And yeah, this is looking pretty good. So we deleted the tavern, and the reason is that, as we can see down at the bottom, everyone must be at least poor to make it into a tavern. And for a theater, everyone must be at least well off. And so we'll have the entire population being well off, so we can go ahead and get one of these down nice and early. That's kind of awkward. I failed to build this housing area correctly here. Let's go ahead and delete these 2 houses. That's fine. We got plenty of money, so we don't really need to worry about it. Just going to go ahead and quick build everything right off the bat, because the population is going to kind of take a while to like settle in, to populate all of the housing and all of the buildings. Change this to help first, preach later. Quick build these buildings real quick. So the newspaper, you want to get this down like right away. If you don't build anything else, at least get a newspaper and set it to the Independent. The budgets, it can do anything. Say if you have a poor population, you can provide them a wage of $8 on the lowest budget, so all the people working here will make a poor wage. Or you can give them a rich wage, which is over 20. Go ahead and push that up to rich. I'm going to go ahead and build a library. I usually don't, but I mean, we might as well, right? Well, actually, no, we're not going to. What I am going to do is... Okay. Yeah, this is fine here. I mean, I've done the beginning so many times that I know that you need 12 educated people for these 3 buildings here. So real quick, we can click on education. And we see we have 6 with a high school education. So we need at least 6 more. I'll go ahead and hire them for this, and then 2 for this. So there's that. And then, how many more extra jobs do we need? We need at least 10. So we'll go ahead and start putting down some plantations. Let's see where we can set up some early tobacco on this side of our little zone here. Go ahead and throw down 2, quick build them up. And I deleted some housing. We need, I'll go ahead and just completely zone out like another little block here. So there's that. And we'll just throw in some decorations. You can turn off random variations, which means that you'll place this park instead of having to like get random parks. So if I like this one, then I can just keep on placing this exact one. Oops. Alrighty. Just need to make sure to push these wages up. And this should be a pretty good setup. Everyone should be nice and happy. They'll have nice houses. No one will be living in shacks. Everyone can go to the theater. And so you can build an early grocery. You don't have to, as long as you leave some buildings on allow local consumption. And so this means that everyone will just come to this plantation to buy corn. The only problem is that it provides a food quality of only 42. And so if you build a early grocery, then you can get the food quality higher, but everything else will be really high up. Everyone have like a nice house and stuff, so the population will still be pretty happy. We got 16 new people. Quickly check out our numbers. Homeless family is 19. Unemployed, we need even more jobs. So for this, you just want to always be putting down some more plantations. So we got corn. And throw down a banana plantation here. Pineapple plantation. Don't really like the way that these are looking. We'll just throw down 2 more tobacco plantations. Quick build all this up. Put it all on multicultural. I mean, it's not super duper important. Everything's still getting pretty high efficiency because of this, because it seems like even though they're like pretty far apart, these plantations on the opposite sides are still affecting each other. So some of these are getting some pretty good efficiencies besides this tobacco one here. This is sort of a lot of plantations here, so I'm going to go ahead and throw down another Teamster's office, because I know we're going to start running into problems with that soon. A little 1x1 zone here. Oh wow, look at all of these. That's pretty cool. There's lots of these little pumpkins around. Nice. Don't need to change the work mode on our Teamsters offices. I only really do this if we got like I'm making a poor island and I got everyone's wage really low. But because, you know, the efficiency is 100, you can kind of just like leave it at safe load. That's fine. So our newspaper is steadily influencing our population, so that's pretty good. So if we click on our population, come to the politics, we can see we need at least 60% of the population supporting the revolutionary faction. And so 60%, you need like, a little bit more than half. So we're at exactly half of the population right now. So we get a demand here. This is kind of what we've been waiting for. You always want to do revolutionary demands right off the bat. So we need a pirate cove. Go ahead and accept that. We'll accept the crown demand. They want us to fulfill a trade route. Don't really need to worry about that because as long as we're making the revolutionaries really happy, we'll move through this era very, very quickly. I think I can squeeze a road in over here. That's fine. Just go and quick build it. See if we can get a lot of revolutionary demands very quickly. Always want to take the 10 revolutionary immigrants because imagine if we had 10 more here. That'd be getting pretty close to 60%. We have lots of vacant jobs. We're going to need more housing. Go ahead and just build up a bunch of extra housing really quickly. Bam, bam, bam. And as a matter of fact, I'll just make this little block here completely for housing. Just quick build up all this as well. $47, still around half. We just need more. We just need this to pick up. The Pirate Cove, we need to bump this up to the max. We can change this work mode here on the Pirate Cove. It just makes missions go by quicker. But there's a chance that, the workers will end up dying after a mission's over, but I mean, a risk I'm willing to take. Don't really need to do anything right now. Getting a lot of random people onto the island early on isn't that great. We'd rather try and get like a lot of revolutionaries from the demands. As you can see, we have a very high support, and the reason is that our happiness is pretty high. And so you can see it's even been spiking up over these past couple months. As long as your overall happiness is above the Caribbean happiness, then your population usually has a pretty high support. And so you'll need to combine that with your politics. So as we can see, the revolutionaries are pretty happy here with a standing of 71. So you can see like what affects their support for you from the faction. So building up a bunch of country houses, making them happy. Newspapers and stuff doing their demands makes them happy. Just accepting the crown demand made them a little unhappy. And so if we went through and just start doing a bunch of crown demands, that'll start making them pretty upset. So that's why I like to hold off for as long as you can on doing crown demands. So if we just get unlucky and our mandate starts getting really low, when it gets around like 2 years, that's usually when I'll start doing crown demands. But hopefully we get a lot of really good revolutionary demands. We won't have to worry about it. I don't think it's ever a good idea to play on like ×4 speed. It's best just to play on ×1, because like let's say I forgot to change the Pirate Cove and it was on the middle budget here, and I let it run for a bunch of months, and everyone working here would be poor, and so that would just kind of be a bit of a headache. They want us to do a rescue raid. I usually don't like doing rescue raids early on, but I mean we might as well. We'll go with educated people because that doesn't tend to get like a whole lot. Even with this whole built up area right here, like a whole city block, we still have a lot of people that need housing. So we'll just build up some more. as we can see, everyone's been using our nifty theater here. And this guy here, that base, you know, he's unemployed. And so this guy's unemployed. He doesn't have a spouse that makes a lot of money, and he's well off. And so we know for a fact that this guy's a criminal. And it says workplace unemployed, but well off. Yeah, that guy there is a criminal. That's pretty cool and all, because eventually I'm going to want a lot of criminals on the island. But for now, I mean, I'd rather avoid it, but we can do child allowances. I might as well, because we're going to get a bunch of educated people. I'll just go ahead and build a library. Build it here. That'll fit perfectly into another city block. And then might as well just throw in some extra housing to get it out of the way. Another thing that you can do is do the upgrade more hands on your construction office. Kind of just provide you with a bunch of vacant jobs. I'll just quick build these houses over here. As a matter of fact, you know what? It's always a good idea to get a second newspaper down early, because as soon as you make it to the next era, you can start using both of them to start influencing your population very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and throw down another one. Yeah, we got lots of educated people now. Bump this up to the max, change it to the independent. So now we have 2 that are going to be influencing everyone nearby. And so if you stay in the colonial era for a long time, then you might end up like stretching your little city to like the edges of the influence of the newspapers. As you can see even here, this house way on the edge isn't affected by this one. We just completed this. Go ahead and activate that. Child allowances. Everyone's got a job. No one's unemployed. And this means that we have no poor people, which is pretty cool. That means everyone can use all of our facilities here. Starting to produce a lot of tobacco. So we'll eventually turn all this tobacco into cigars once we make it to the next era. "52 revolutionaries out of 100 people. If these could quickly influence 10 people, then we would reach our goal, which would be nice. And so this is saying that it's influenced 29 people. This doesn't mean that it's directly made them into revolutionaries, because a royalist can go from strong to moderate to indifferent. And so let's say all of the people that the newspaper influenced were all royalist, then it might not completely, like, it would take like multiple influences to get a strong royalist all the way to revolutionary. And then it can also just affect your revolutionaries and slowly push them into the, like, deeper into this belief. Go ahead and start working on penal colony. And after that, I'm going to go ahead and get advanced boat services. And the reason is that I want to kind of set it up so that we're importing a lot of stuff kind of early on. We can come check out our resources. It's always good to do this early because, as you can see here, we already kind of built over this iron deposit. Not much of a worry though. What I can do is eventually start putting some mines down on this coal mine here and this iron mine. We could completely mine out this gold mine because I'm not going to be too worried about gold early on. That can kind of sell for a lot early on. Something that you always want to do is keep on clicking on your plantations and all of your production buildings. And so as we can see, yeah, like this is at 900 on the storage. That's another 800 there. Another 600. So these numbers are like getting pretty high. So what we're gonna do is build a couple more Teamsters offices right in front of the library. That seems like a good spot for 2 more. Only thing is now we have like a lot of vacant jobs, but that should be fine after a little while. So it looks like our pirates are just now leaving. They needed to build up the raid points to start this raid, but now that they have the raid points, they all took off. And so because we have the budget maxed out, the building's completely full of workers, and we have this work mode here, this should be like a pretty quick raid. It shouldn't take more than like, definitely no longer than 6 months. And so, like I was saying earlier, you want no shacks, and as you can see, this island here has 0 shacks. And the reason is that we have 0 homeless families, and we have 0 unemployed people. So everyone's working a job, everyone's making at least $10 a month, as you can see in this wage. And because everyone's making at least $10 a month, they're well off. And because they're well off, they can afford to live in one of these houses. And so now our early money right now, like this is pretty good. And so like every month, like right now, if I just like didn't touch it and no more people moved in, we would be making money every month, like no matter what. Because we're producing a lot of stuff, collecting a lot of rents every month, and everything's just like working really well. The theater, it's definitely going to be losing us money every month. You could speed this up maybe by getting like some public transportation so that people could get here quicker. As you can see, the whole population needs to walk from like all over the island to get here, and that's what's slowing down the income on this building. But right now, this is like a pretty good setup. Like there's not much to worry about. You can kind of just sit back. As a matter of fact, you can kind of future-proof the island. So we only have 6 vacant homes, but like let's say 20 people moved in, then oh yeah, look at this. This is actually really, really good. This is really close. This pop-up happens exactly 2 years after the start of the game. So as we can see, our mandate started with 6 years, and now we have 4. And so our revolutionaries are very, very happy. So that's really good for us. And we almost have 60% of the population supporting the revolution. And so we just need a little bit of time to pass. I'm going to go ahead and start future-proofing the island up a bit. So build just a bunch of extra housing around. Oops. And go through and put down a bunch of parks. I did that backwards, but that's okay. And so this is like how you usually want to set things up. You don't want to like be constantly quick building everything. Once you kind of get ahead, like you do want to quick build things if you have the money for it and your population kind of needs it. Like if we had a bunch of homeless families right now, then you'd kind of want to quick build at least some of it so that you can start getting people in their homes quicker. But right now we have 0 homeless families, and so I can just let the construction crews get to work. Yeah, we have a lot of people working in this construction office, which is pretty nice. So these buildings should come up, hopefully. Like, the goal is to build up what you need if there's a huge influx of people. And so as we can see, this boat's coming in, and let's say like these 2 houses finished and maybe another one, and that perfectly fit the amount of like new people moving in, then that would be like the most ideal way to go about it. So as we can see, we're getting some extra vacant homes, and so if 10 people moved onto the island right now, that'd be super good because they'd instantly get a job and then they'd instantly get a home. We just got Penal Colony. Penal Colony is pretty cool. Like the city of Rome and America were kind of like this, like Rome was like the crossroads of, you know, lots of different foreign powers. And anyone can move into Rome, at least like from what I can remember. And America was like that too, just like people moving in from all over. So this increases the immigration rate, and it also increases the chance of each immigrant being a criminal. So that's pretty cool because, you know, I want a criminal island, so eventually that'll really kick in. What kind of sucks is that we finished the revolutionary demand, as you can see, they're showing up right as a boat's leaving. And so we want the 10 immigrants, but now we gotta wait for a whole boat to leave and then like another whole boat to show back up. So we gotta wait for that boat way over there. But as soon as they show up, then we should... Oh man. Yeah, finishing that raid really threw us back a whole lot. We were at like 58, and then like, I don't even know how many people showed up on this. Was it only 3? No way only 3 people showed up from a raid. Maybe it was just 3. But either way, yeah, see, this is exactly how you want it. As you can see, there's 0 homeless families, 0 homes. Eventually, once, you know, the game starts going like way later on and you have to worry about all sorts of stuff like retirement, once you start having to worry about like retirement and stuff, then things start to like really change up. But early on, you should be able to pull this off pretty easily. And the reason that we're getting some extra vacant homes is because people are getting married, I believe. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so the library has a wage of 24 on the medium budget. So if we look at this building has cost us $788 since we built it. And so that's just like a whole lot of money, $82 a month. That's just way too much. So we're going to bump this down to the minimum budget, which still provides a wage over 10. So these people will still be well off. We're not going to be generating quite as much knowledge points every month, but you know, that's fine. It's better than wasting like a whole lot of money. Check out our research on our way to advanced boat services. This will speed up the ports, and so people will be showing up to our ports more often. And it'll also, once you start setting up a lot of import deals, it'll make the imports come quicker, which is pretty nice for us. So once we set up a lot of import deals, that's when I'll bump the budget on the dock all the way to the max. And so having the dock all the way to the max and advanced boat services, we'll be getting like a new ship every, I don't know, maybe like 2 months, something pretty close to that. Another revolutionary demand for a tavern. So this is really, really neat because we got this demand right before a ship shows up. And I believe we're still getting the 10 immigrants from the Pirate Cove. And so if we quick build a tavern, quick build that real quick. Yeah. And so we get another 10 revolutionary immigrants. So I believe 20 revolutionary immigrants are about to show up. And hopefully that's enough to push us over the amount that we need. So we can imagine 20 here and then 20 there. That should be enough. We don't really need this, so I'm going to go and go back to deleting it. Make sure our storages aren't getting too high. So that looks pretty good. And this is a pretty ideal little island. So just like that, you know, we're making lots of money. We just finished the task, so we can declare independence. That's why I like taking so much money early on, because you can just buy it. And we should be moving on to the next era pretty quickly. Just like that, we made it to the World Wars era. We're still within like the 2 years, about 3 years. Pretty good. For this one, because we're going to kind of be emulating America, specifically Chicago, we're going to make all citizens vote. I usually like going with a pacifist state, but I mean, going with a pacifist state means that, like, if you are invaded or if rebels do show up, then there's kind of no real way that you can deal with them. And so you have to make sure, you like have to make sure that there's no rebels and you don't get invaded. But it also increases the standing with all superpowers by 10. And so and it'll decrease rebel threat buildup. So it kind of like makes you safer from invasions. We might end up doing this. Well, no, we'll just go with militia. That's fine. And so just like that, we made it to the next era. And as you can see, we got a bunch of shacks just built up on the island. The reason is we have 16 homeless families. But I think I'm going to continue building up this island on the next episode. I'm going to throw it into my editing software real quick and chop it up a little bit, and then I'll post it. And I think I'm going to start doing a daily upload of these. Like I was saying at the beginning of the video, the ultimate goal is to build something like Chicago. I want a lot of criminals running around on the streets, and I want the industry to be focused on car manufacturing. But if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. If you want to follow along with the series, or maybe follow along with future series that I do, be sure to subscribe. Peace.